Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am Sabrina Soul, and this is The Missing Link. Tonight, I have a very special guest. I have Simone Redwine with me, and Simone Redwine is an attorney. Okay. I feel like I'm back from last night. Last night I was getting tongue tied and I feel like I'm going through it again tonight. So hopefully I won't have those same issues. I do have Simone waiting backstage, and I just wanted to come on and just say in the beginning of this, for anyone that will watch this or that's watching it now and will watch this later, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me and The Missing Link, and also with my new channel that I have, The Missing Link. And this is going to be streamed on both of my platforms, Miss Sabrina Soul and The Missing Link. But I just wanted to say thank you so much, guys, for supporting me in this new venture, in this new journey. I am so excited. It's something new. I've never done anything like this, but I continue to do it because I actually love to do it. I love to bring you different people in different walks of life, and to speak about entrepreneurship. Like, you guys know, I live for that kind of stuff. Like, I'm about my business. I'm a businesswoman, man. But I definitely just wanted to say that before we actually got started today. I don't think I really had a chance to say that in any of my other videos, but I definitely wanted to say that today. So today, again, I am going to be bringing up Simone Redwine. She is an attorney, and let's say hello. Yay. Hold on.
It's on.
There you go. Yeah. Simone, yes, everyone.
Hey, oh wait, let me pull this up, girl. Channeling my inner Carmen. I got my little bosoms out, y'all.
Red is absolutely your color. You're gorgeous.
Thank you. So I'm excited about this girl talk we're gonna have. Girl talk, professional talk.
Yes, I'm excited too. And I know, I was like, you know what? I was like, I want to speak to a lawyer. And I was like, duh, Simone. I was like, I have to get her on. And plus, you and Rashid, y'all were fans of mine. When I was on the show, I would always watch you guys' reviews on YouTube. So Ages and Stages podcast, guys, go definitely check that out. But yeah, I was a huge fan of yours, like, since then. So I definitely wanted to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you, especially on this platform, with you being an attorney. So I think that's so amazing. And congratulations to all your success as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I spent the last week, I've been celebrating a few of them. So that's been great. I definitely need to take a vacation soon. But I'm one of those work hard, play hard people, so I'll fit that on in there.
Yeah, I completely understand. So one thing about The Missing Link, one thing I like to do is just jump right in. I have some questions. Hopefully we can get to all of them. I feel like there's such amazing questions. Any questions that I have that I do ask you, if you don't feel comfortable with answering, you do not have to answer. But I do want to put that disclaimer out there. I want to start doing that from now because I don't want to offend anyone. But
oh yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, great. So my very first question to you is, who is Simone Redwine?
I'm like the homegirl in a lot of people's heads. I'm like your homegirl lawyer, which is why I created my YouTube show and channel, which is called Girl, Is That Legal? Because I had so many people, like, I had friends and strangers that would call and tell me their deepest, darkest secrets that end up being a part of their deepest, darkest legal issue. And I want to be able to help other people. So I'm an attorney. I'm obviously a Black woman, and I decided to become an attorney because I love problem solving. I love helping people, and I don't really like being poor. So I decided to combine those things together. I said, how can I help people use my gift of problem solving and not be poor? Oh, I could be a lawyer. So I did.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I love it. So where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Dallas, Texas. So born and raised in Dallas. I went to high school, middle school, all of that in a neighborhood of Dallas called Oak Cliff. So I was born and raised there. And then I went off to college. I got a scholarship when I was 16. I received a full ride to the University of Pittsburgh to study finance. So had never been to Pennsylvania, did not know what a Pittsburgh was. All I knew is that it was free and I was poor. So I said, hell yeah. And I took my talents to Pittsburgh. So I went to University of Pittsburgh for my undergrad, studied finance, and ultimately got a scholarship to Cornell Law, where I received my law degree. Mhm.
Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations, man. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Commend you because I know you said a couple of times like you were poor, you were broke, but look at how God works. Look at like this. It was meant for you. He set
Thank
everything
you.
up for you to be exactly where you were supposed to be. Like you're walking in your purpose, and I think that's so amazing that you actually had that opportunity presented to you and you took advantage of it. You know,
Totally.
a lot.
Totally. And I think that largely comes from like I became a person who I never say no to an opportunity until I've explored all my options.
Yep.
And I believe that that has been a key to my success. Because even with picking my undergrad, like I'd never heard of that school, right? But what happened was my mom used to open up my mail. I used to get a lot of mail from different colleges.
Mhm.
A lot of them were schools I'd never heard of before, Pitt being one of them. My mom would open them, and one day she ran into my room and she was like, Mimi, look at this letter. You got to apply. And it said, if you applied to University of Pittsburgh, you'll get at least full tuition. And I was like, what? And so that's how it happened. But if you left it to me, like my little 16-year-old self, where I was like USC or Purdue or, something that I'd heard of from TV, I wouldn't be where I am at today.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. So okay, so growing up, I know you're an attorney now, but growing
Mhm.
up, like when you were a little girl, you were like, I want to be such and such one day. What did you have dreams of actually becoming growing up? Like, what did you want to be like your 12-year-old Simone self?
When I was 12, when I was 10, when I was 9, when I was 8, I wanted to be a lawyer. And
Wow.
how that came about, this is why I really believe in the power of parents grooming, and parents using life experiences to really help your child define their own talents. Now,
Mhm.
my mother had decided when I was very young that I was very good at problem solving, but also anticipating objections, basically anticipating why she might tell me no to something, and then coming up with a way to get that overruled. Um, and she was like, this little girl need to be a lawyer. So what happened was my mother used to very much foster and encourage me being an attorney. Now my mom was one. Now when I was like 5 and 6, I wanted to be Cyndi Lauper or a dancer, and she would sit there, woo, sing it, girl, get it, girl. Oh, oh, like when we were, you remember the show Living Color?
I
Uh,
do.
they used to have a skit called Little Magic. Little Magic was like this little funny looking girl with no talent, but she would always sing or dance, and her mother would be like, look at my daughter, little magic. Ah, ah. That's how my mother was. Look at my daughter, Simone. Ah, ooh, look at her sing, look at her dance, look at her do the lot, whatever. And
Right.
so for me, when I was a little kid, I was always talkative. I had a big personality, very confident. So my mom put me in acting and modeling. And the
Mm.
way that I decided as a little girl that I wanted to become an attorney was because when I was 6, I landed a national commercial for McDonald's. This is how old I am. It was the first ever McDonald's Happy Meal toy that was a Hot Wheels car. That was when Hot Wheels had first came
The
out.
little red car.
Yes, the little red car. And Hot Wheels were able, if you pulled them back, they would
They
shoot
were
forward.
zooming out.
Right. That was the first time they ever did that. It was like a big deal. So they were in Happy Meals, okay? And so I got cast because I had really big eyes. I got cast for the commercial. They pulled it back and I went, yeah, my big ass Chucky eyes, okay? Oh, big A, Chucky eyes. Well, when I would do commercials, my mom wanted me to see acting and modeling as any other extracurricular. I'd go to ballet on Saturdays, then I'd go to acting, soccer on Tuesdays, whatever. It was not like a money making thing. But what she would do though is once I would book whatever gig and I do a good job, she would take me to, at the time, it was the equivalent of Big Lots. It was called McFrugal's because we were poor. We lived in a poor neighborhood. We go to McFrugal's and I get to pick a toy from the toy aisle. Well, I did that gig and I was like, Mom, since this is a big deal, it's McDonald's. instead of going to McFrugal's, can I get me a doll from Toys R Us? And she was like, you know what? You can. And I was so excited, right? Because McFrugal's didn't have real Barbies. They had like off-brand generic Barbies. It was probably like they were shaped like the equivalent of like a transgender Barbie if we were to have one today, because none of the clothes fit regular Barbie. Like McFrugal's Barbies had like a big old head. She may or may not have had a mustache, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And she was just like a real, like, irregularly shaped chick. So I hated them because I could never interchange the clothes. Anyway, I never got my, I kept asking, I never got my Toys R Us Barbie. And my mom was like, I was like, Mom, what's the deal? She was like, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but your agent ran off with your money. So I did, which would have, in 1989, I did this commercial. It would have been the equivalent of earning about $25,000. So big deal, big money. My agent took my money, and then her whole agency just folded. She was supposed to just take her 10%, give us the rest. Now, this was before I was in the Screen Actors Guild. By the time I was 8, I had done so many commercials and things that I was in the Screen Actors Guild and this never happened to me. But for me, my mom chose to use that as a life lesson because she had already decided this was something I was good at. But she also wanted to know, like, if you want to stick this out, you want to be in the entertainment industry, little girl, you better learn to read, because I couldn't read. I was 6. You have to learn to read. You need to learn to read your contract. So, because there are people out here who will do this to you. And
Mm.
I thought it was a very age appropriate lesson for a little girl that was 6 years old. And in the background, my mom actually did sue on my behalf. We won, etc. We were just never able to collect. But it stuck with me. And that was actually the foundation of why I wanted to become a lawyer.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's an amazing story. Like everyone has a story, you know what I mean? And you never know. And these are the stories that I live for because I know I have a crazy story myself. And when I talk, and I always say one of the things I always say is I love talking to everyone because you never know what you can learn from who. You know,
Right.
you never know what's going to inspire you. You never know what they can say to completely change your whole mindset and make you do a detour. And now, you wanted to become an engineer, but now after hearing Simone, I want to become a lawyer. I want my daughter to become a lawyer. I want her to do McDonald's commercials, because they're inspired by your story, period.
Absolutely. I think your platform is wonderful, and I'm so happy that you're using it for good, not mess, not, you know what I mean? So get it, girl. Get
I
it,
love
girl.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's just real quick. I started this platform because I remember starting in like the business and the entertainment industry and stuff like that. I remember I would go to people and I would be like, oh my God, like other females, I would be like, oh my God, that's cute. Where did you get that from? And they'd be like, oh girl, I don't even remember.
Oh, they were those
I'm
girls.
like, you still got the tag on it. Like how you don't remember?
Right.
Like and people just in business, people just never wanted to help me. They never wanted to
Mm.
help me. And I was like, you know what? If that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. Everything happens for a reason. And I said, and because of those the way that the people treated me 20 years ago, 15 years ago, now I have this platform because I want to give you the cliff notes. I want to give you the answers. I want to tell you where I bought it and I'm going to bring it to you, and it's crazy how that
Absolutely.
happened to me. And now I'm doing this to kind of, like I said, you never know what life experiences can lead from, one thing to another. And
Absolutely.
this is my
No,
thing.
you're so
So
right.
yeah, I
Hmm.
love it. Okay. So I want to ask, what do you do now? You said you're an attorney.
Sure. So one of the things that I have carried forward from being an actor, a child actress. So I was a child actress until about 21. Then I went off to college. I stuck with college and stuff. Is I realized I'm a very gifted storyteller. So
Mm,
naturally, that translated to I really love personal injury law. So I do
mm,
personal injury, wrongful death, product liability, consumer. So anything where the average person is going against a big corporation who has wronged them. I call it corporate reparations. I help my clients seek corporate reparations, which is basically being made whole from corporations who've done you wrong. So
mm,
whether it's an 18 wheeler and they have an insurance that, backs them, but they don't want to pay you, even though you've been out of work and severely injured, or whether it's a dangerous product that's hurt my clients or killed one of my
Mhm.
clients or killed one of my clients' children. I am there advocating for them, telling the story on their behalf so that I can bankrupt them and take them down and win millions. Because what I have discovered is that in corporate America, in a capitalist society, the only thing they care about is money. So
Mhm.
while before I went to law school, there were a lot of people who would look at a case and be like, oh my gosh, those greedy attorneys. So, for example, there was a case where the elderly woman, she received about $10 million from McDonald's when some coffee spilled on her.
I heard
And
about that. And she
yeah,
won that. She won that.
she won that and she got 2 million. And the corporate America used that case to say, oh my gosh, look how greedy lawyers are and how terrible lawyers are out there. And then when I went to law school, I learned that no, actually, this case was only because over 1,000 people prior to her had also been burned, and
Yep.
that McDonald's had determined that it was cheaper to settle and just pay these people out than it was to adjust the temperature or get new coffee making machines. So they had decided that you little people are too poor and too stupid and too insignificant for us to value your lives. So what I do is when they have determined that you're too poor or too insignificant for your life to matter, I make it matter. Mm-hmm. So I love my job. Mm-hmm.
Honey, don't let me spill some hot tea. I'll be like, hello. I couldn't believe that lady won because everybody know, and I remember hearing that story, and I remember going, I mean, she know the coffee hot, and this was before she actually won the case. I said, I know she know the
Right,
coffee hot. Like it says, caution, hot coffee or hot, drink on the cup. I'm like, she
right.
not. I was like, she's not gonna win it. There's no way she's gonna win it, honey. When they said she won that case and won all that money, I was like,
It was because they found a document
yeah,
where within McDonald's, where one McDonald's uh, headquarters staff was saying to another, it's cheaper for us to just pay these people than to buy and implement new machines. And the
yeah.
fact that they knew this was third degree burns, right? So, and I think she had it like it was in her lap. So her legs, her vagina, her all of that is permanently scarred, right?
Oh, I
Like
didn't know it was that bad. Oh
I
my
like my little hoo ha to look. Nowadays we have a whole procedure ladies go through to make their hoo ha stay pretty. You know what I mean?
God, right.
So to know that this corporation said these people are so insignificant and that there have been hundreds before, that's why. So when you hear of those crazy cases, just know in the back of your head, that company must have did a whole bunch of other BS
Mm,
prior to that day. And
mhm.
that's what they're getting punished for. So really, she got that majority of that money in what's called punitive damages, which is what
Right.
I call when your granny goes and get a switch and she whoops you in front of your cousin. That's what happened. McDonald's got whooped in front of their cousin so that they would be humiliated and an example would be made out of them. So
Mm,
not only would they not do that again, but so that other companies wouldn't do it either.
yeah. Dang. I did in my
Mm-hmm.
thought, I did not realize her burns were that bad. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah, real
wow.
bad.
Mm, mm, mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm, mm,
And
mm.
the thing of it is, the other law firms that had come before, they'd all settle. They'd take a little bit, write a letter, get something, settle. It'd get a little higher and a little higher, but they were settling for like 15,000. This was in the 90s, I believe. So they were settling for like 15, 20,000, thinking, okay, that's a lot, that's fine. But sometimes you got to really stick, as an attorney, I believe you have to really stick it to them because if you don't, they have no incentive to change. So
Mm,
I do
that's
car
true.
wrecks. Yep, I do car wrecks, 18 wheeler wrecks. If you have a relative who's been killed, whether it was at a nightclub, I have somewhere the person was shot at a nightclub, and it looked like a traditional murder case. And then I do an open records request for the 911 records for the past year at that nightclub, only to see that 911 gets called every gosh darn day. And they've had shootouts in that parking lot
Never did
um,
anything.
multiple times a month for the last year. And it's just, they don't want to pay for security. They don't want to pay for a metal detector. Okay, you don't want to pay then you're going to pay today. You're going to learn today. You're going to learn today.
Wow.
Because when you hit their insurance, that's the thing about corporate America. When you hit their insurance, then they change. Why? Because without insurance, you cannot operate your
The
business,
business, yeah, you have to have
right?
it. It's the same as like having a car. You can't
Right.
having a car, you can't drive it unless you have insurance. Yeah, and I
Which
know
is
that
why
with business.
it's a distinctly kind of a distinctly different topic, but I am a firm believer, and I'm in the midst of writing a paper on the fact that I believe the cure actually to police brutality that we are experiencing as a race on the whole is a change in the insurance policies and practices that
Mm,
are used to insure these police departments. Because if the insurance companies at the end of the day would insure police officers the way they insure auto drivers, which is every 6 months, you
mhm.
get renewed. We
Yep,
look at your record. If
yep.
people file complaints against you for excessive force, if you out here shooting people and you have these disciplinary things in your file and they come back and say, oh, you're too risky and say, we're not going to renew you,
Mm.
guess what? We don't even have to fire you. They quit
Yeah.
because they cannot continue working without insurance because the insurance is what pay is what covers their legal expenses, right?
Mhm.
When they kill us. So if they knew that they'd have to reach in their own pocket and mortgage their
Yep.
house and deal with the same little what do they call it, public defenders that we got to deal with, you think they'd be shooting us? Hell no. Hell no. But
You're absolutely
I
right.
digress. So
Mm.
I use insurance companies to effectuate justice, similar to how prosecutors use the criminal justice system to effectuate justice. Mhm.
That's crazy because that's like, and I know that you go above and beyond and you do your homework and you probably love researching that stuff and you know that these companies got that insurance and you like, let me hurry up and get this paycheck.
Yep, I want your research. I want that, and then I want to see your claim file. I want to know
Yep.
about everybody else who's filed a claim for this too, because I know y'all are over here doing these shenanigans and this and that. Like I've had a client. I also do expungements. So in the state of Texas, I have a company that's called My Record is Clean, where I focus on sealing and expunging non-violent criminal records for people. A lot of it is actually shoplifting that people did when they were in undergrad. Now they've received their college degree, but they can't get a good job, right? Because you've got a theft. And one of the things that I found is that the payday loan companies have been filing theft charges against poor people who can't afford the 400% interest rate. So they file it as a theft by check. They filed a step by check. I had a client who got pulled over. There was a warrant for her arrest because Ace Cash Express filed when she couldn't repay her 400% cash advance. So these are the companies that I like to give a good 1-2 punch. Yep. But in turn, I have to get clients and people like your viewers who say,
Mhm.
well, this happened to me and this happened to me. And I pull them all together
Mhm.
and file claims for everyone. Right now, I'm doing it for people with ovarian cancer from who have used baby powder over the years. A lot of women actually they focus their ads on Black women.
Mm.
So years ago, Johnson and Johnson and other companies discovered that their baby powder. Well, they realized their baby powder was causing cancer, right? And women were using it down there for feminine hygiene. Well, white women discovered it and stopped using it. So they just, instead of taking out the asbestos, they just said, "Oh, we'll market it to big Black women in the South." That's what the that's what the memo says. So they sell it to women in the South because they said that we work outside a lot and we have hot temperatures, and that within our culture, we teach our girls to use feminine care to go to church and to stay fresh and da, 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 da. So my own aunt, she died of ovarian cancer from the asbestos in her baby powder. And yep, those are some of the cases that I take on. Hmm. It's crazy how they just say, "Oh, it's a dangerous project. Ooh, give it to the black lady. Give it to the black folks." Nobody's going to believe them when they complain, and it's true
Right.
because we don't usually complain, or when we do, we don't go to the law because we've already had a horrible history of the law abusing us. Hmm.
I hope that at least one person that's watching this and that will watch the replay will need you. And I hope that they come
Absolutely.
to you.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so my
We'll give
question,
you my contact information in the description.
yeah,
Yep. Which
absolutely.
is 855 4 Simone. 855 4 Simone. Call or text anytime, y'all.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
also too, you can go down in the description box below as well, and her links to her social media is on there, and you can
Thanks.
always see her or follow her on Instagram and slide in her DMs if you need her services as well.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. I'm flabbergasted. Okay. So I said, what do you do now? You were okay. So you also have a podcast on YouTube. Girl,
Hmm.
is that legal? So,
Exactly.
okay. And I know you
Hmm.
talk about like celebrity news and stuff, and I've
Yeah.
watched a couple of them and they're pretty amazing. I'm like, I didn't know that. And
Yeah. Thank you.
so,
So I'll tell you a little more about that. Yeah.
okay.
So basically, I just created it. So my therapist and I came up with the concept because he was like, "Listen, you have an issue. You take on everybody else's problems and you don't handle your own." I was like, "You're right." And so before he went to prison, we came up with this concept. Now he's, a little bit in jail right now. For a little, it's just a little white collar crime. I'm waiting for him to come on out because he's excellent, and I will still go to this therapist. But so what I do is, basically, I cover different celebrity legal topics, but I also provide free legal advice. So if you have a legal question where you'd like a free consultation, all you have to do is be willing. You can be anonymous. You do not have to show your face or share your name. But I generally post them on Wednesdays, and I have one coming up this week. Well, Wednesday would be tomorrow, so next week. And you can just reach out to me at 1-855 4 Simone, or you can email attorney Simone at Gmail and present me your question, and I help you work it through. And here's the thing about it is it's just my opinion or my good judgment on how to approach certain things if I don't practice in your state particularly. And I always do a disclaimer that I'm not this specific lawyer, but it's really fun because you realize like you've got a lot more power than you probably know that you have. So I do that, and then I also cover different celebrity legal gossip issues. So, for example, last week it was trending that Solange knows Beyonce's sister may be a Grammy at 35. Girl. So this young lady took to Instagram to, her name was Adore. She shared her name, so this is not private, to claim that she was had sex with Solange's son Jules without protection, and that she had chosen not to take the morning after pill, and that she was pregnant. Now, in her Twitter bio, she is a self-proclaimed quote super slut, and also listed her OnlyFans. So she's a little OnlyFans model. She's in high school, but she's 18. But what's interesting is that in a number of states where your son is 18, and here Solange's son is 17. Sorry, where your son is 17 or still in high school, the child support can be set on both of the parents' income. So Solange and her ex-husband's income. So this little super slut could be getting 20% of a few millions. Yeah. And so I thought that's really interesting. Do we do we think that's fair? I don't know. I don't I don't know. But at the same time, if he was 15, that means that little girl, if she were a little girl, would have to go like 3 years without any support if you relied only on the kid. So there's a lot of states where if it's a minor boy, so we got to talk to our sons, y'all, unless you want your 20% to be gone. Mm, I
Honey,
don't.
Did y'all just hear what she said? They're going to
20%.
go after the parents for the child support because he is under the age of 18 and he is still in high school. So since he cannot pay child support, the little girl can get child support from Solange and her husband. Is it her husband?
Ex-husband. The
Ex-husband.
ex-husband. Yep.
The parents of Solange is Beyonce's sister, guys.
Right.
That I wish some what?
Right. If you had a son, shoot. I think it's dads out there like Deion Sanders who are like, wait, what? Hold
Honey,
on. Sit
I
your
would
son
like
down.
I would have to let my son know outside is closed until you turn 18. Sorry, boo. Outside closed for you. You just gotta do everything in house.
Close. 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 This is no. There. No. Mm-mm.
Honey,
So yes, we have that
honey.
one going on.
Oh my God. That's
Mhm.
okay. So everyone, you heard it. Her podcast, her YouTube channel is called Girl, Is That Legal? So y'all need to go and as a matter of fact, that's in the description box below. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel as well. Because yeah, that's interesting. Like because I would have never even heard that or have known about it unless I didn't talk to you tonight. Like I would have never even
Right.
known. That's
And
crazy.
right, you wouldn't have known about it until you were in that, God forbid, you were in that situation. You don't have a son, so. But
Right.
yeah, But also, I think a lot of mothers of teen moms probably don't even know that law
Don't even
exists
know.
to get support. So these same young men who are like, I don't know if this is my kid or XYZ, perhaps their moms will keep a little tighter rein if they know
Y'all
that
hear that?
they could only ultimately be responsible, depending on
Right.
what state they're in.
So if y'all have a young son under the age of 18 and he gets someone pregnant, they can come after your check. Okay, guys?
Yep, 20%. Even if you and his dad are not together, that's 20% of your household, 20% of his household. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sugar. Honey, honey, honey. Okay, let's move forward.
Yeah. For real.
Okay, wow. Okay, so my next question to you is okay, so we hear the terminology attorneys and then we hear lawyers. Are attorneys and lawyers the same thing?
Great question. Yes, they are. And I think the confusion comes from over in London. They have two words. They use barrister and solicitor, and they're not the same. One is the one that goes to court, and the other one is just the one that does contracts. But here in America, they are the same. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I know a lot of people like, are you an attorney or are you a lawyer? Like
I know. The first time somebody asked me that, I was like, I don't know. I need to find out. But it is both. And I think the real distinction is there's Esquire and there's a JD. So JD means you graduated from law school because that's Juris Doctorate. That's what we get from graduating law school. Esquire means you passed the bar. So if you can ask someone, are you an Esquire? That effectively means, but did you pass the bar?
Right. Because if you didn't pass the bar, then you can't have clients and like you can't represent any clients.
Correct. If you didn't pass the bar, the only thing you can do is like work for a corporation within one of their own departments. You could work for like Citibank or I don't know, IBM in a legal department or doing whatever they tell you to do. But yep.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
So because I hear about like get the district of attorney that and get the accident lawyer and get a divorce lawyer, and so there's a bunch of different lawyers that's out here. So is it really that there are a bunch of different lawyers out here? And because I'm like, you know what, I have this problem, I'm going to seek a lawyer. And because I heard you say earlier that you do this, you do XYZ. So say for instance, something happened and someone called me out of my name at my job and they called me, let's just say the N word, and I wanted to
Yeah,
get a lawyer. Could I say, you know what, I'm about to call Simone? Like, could I do that? Because I know you said
correct.
before. Yeah. So explain that.
So the two main types of lawyers to clarify is criminal and civil. Criminal and civil, right? So criminal is when you talk about a district attorney. The district attorney is basically in any county, he's the head, he would be like the sheriff. How the sheriff is over all the police officers, the district attorney is over all the prosecutors.
Mm,
So the district attorney is who determines what criminal charges they're going to allow to be pressed and move forward. So if somebody does something to you, let's say you get in a fight in a nightclub with like some chick you don't like, right? Y'all scrap, and you're like, I press charges against her. The district attorney is the one who's going to say, yes, we're going to press charges or not. Okay. Then separate from that is civil law. Civil law is where you're not going trying to get nobody locked up, you're seeking money. And
mm,
sometimes people do that simply because the district attorney is choosing not to press charges. So, for example, you may
mm,
have heard of some of these celebs in Hollywood, these guy celebs, where women are claiming that they were inappropriate with them, touching them or whatever, but maybe a lot of time has passed, so no criminal charges are being passed or
mm.
being pursued, but they'll pursue civil charges.
Damages.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I am what's called a civil attorney. So I get money for people who have been wronged. And that can be anything from a slip and a fall, to, hurt in a car accident, to killed by an 18 wheeler or product or a medical drug. Um, and here's the big thing. So a lot of times, let's say, for example, we see a lot of these police brutality cases, these cases where cops, shoot these unarmed guys, and then you see a GoFundMe. Let me be very clear. When those families are seeking an attorney, those attorneys are free. No, I'm not saying that those families are committing fraud. No, 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 no. I'm saying a lot of times they don't realize that the attorney they're seeking is free. So those attorneys, which are civil attorneys, we work on what's called a contingency or a percentage of what we get you. So
mm,
whenever you see someone put up a GoFundMe for a civil rights case of any sort, they don't need it for their legal expenses. And you can actually like DM them privately. I wouldn't say like don't thwart their whole GoFundMe. Don't be like a hater. But if it's a friend or family member, like DM them and be like, hey,
oh,
the
shoot.
type of lawyer that you want, they actually will work for you for free because they only get a percentage once they win for you. And if they don't win, you owe them nothing. Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that. So like the 2 million that was raised for George Floyd, that wasn't for his lawyers. His lawyers worked for free. That went to his family, and that's why there were multiple, right? Because he had a kid and a baby mom, so they did one. Then he had some siblings, and then I think he had like a sister that didn't get along with the other siblings, so she did. That ain't my business, but yeah. No, so I'm not saying they wasted. It's not fraud. I'm not saying any of that at all. I'm just saying, like literally, when those things happen, you don't know that an attorney is free. Why? Because you've never had to use one of these before. Because you've never been killed by a cop before. Yeah. So if you ever have a loved one go through something like that, one of the things you can do is say, hold on, don't worry. I can help you guys find a good attorney. I'm gonna call my girl Simone. And if I can't do it, I can refer you to someone in your state who can. I'm not one of those lawyers who thinks she can do everything or even try. I'm gonna get you to the best person who can, because what's important is that we get very good victories for Black and Brown people. Because
Mhm.
once we start doing that, they will stop killing us because it will be too expensive to do so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
So we have to have good lawyers representing us, not just the TV lawyers.
Right. Hmm. So, okay, that brings me to one of my questions. I wasn't going to ask this question yet, but you just mentioned it. So, say for instance, you're in Texas. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Simone, girl, I need your help. Can you represent clients in any state? Or are you?
Um, Basically, I can. Not all attorneys can, but I can. The reason being is one, I work with different national firms where
Mm,
we co-counsel, and I'm able to do something that's called pro hoc vice, which means for this case only,
mm,
waive in two different states to represent you for a particular case. And what I do is I co-counsel with one of my colleagues in your state who's the best at what they do.
mm,
Not the second best, the best. And so we work together, and how that works is we split the fee. So you're not charged anything more. We split it
mm.
based on how like our level of responsibility on the cases.
Right.
So I'm able to do that. And so if you find that you, for example, like let's say you have a loved one who had an injury at a Dollar General, and you see that there's an attorney who says, I just sued Dollar General and I got 10 million. Feel free to contact that attorney, even if they're not in your state, because that attorney can then work with someone in your state to get the results you want. Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get it. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Instead of going to an attorney that might get you 20,000, but you know this lawyer over here just won a case and got 10 million. You like, well, I'm gonna call Jim because
Right.
Jim
Call
might
Jen.
can give me 10 million too. Like Jack might could give me 10, 20,000. And I like Jack. We like
Right.
you, but ah.
And I, and now that I'm an attorney, like I realize like there's a lot of, I mean, as it is with social media, there's a lot of keeping up appearances. So like before I co-counsel with an attorney, like I make sure he's the real deal. I will, if it's especially if it's an attorney in a different state, I'll make sure I pull up your jury record of winning cases in front of juries. I pull up to see if you're a homeowner. I'm
Right.
sorry. If you're out here telling me you won a $10 million verdict and your apartment is all bills paid in an apartment, no, no, no,
Mm.
no, no, no. You're
That's
no, it's not the math ain't mathing, right?
right. That
Now,
makes
I'm
sense.
not saying you need to pull up in a Bentley by no means, because I actually think that's a depreciating asset, which is another story. But what I need to make sure of is that you are not going to rush a settlement for our client based on you seeing dollar signs and you had deals.
Hmm.
Okay. So there's that.
That's girl. I am learning so much. I love
Oh, and most importantly, I never ever co-counsel with someone who does not maintain malpractice insurance. So when I co-counsel with someone, I make sure that I have a copy of their malpractice insurance on policy. Not because I expect them to do anything, but that says to me, like, there are attorneys out here who cannot get malpractice insurance. Now, what does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
That means they've had so many claims
Reliability.
against them
Yeah.
that they've messed up so many times that they are insurable. And we've already talked about, I already shared my experience and my opinion on insurance and how insurance keeps good people good and keeps the people who don't do their jobs good out, like the police, who
Yeah.
are dangerous, you know. So I'm really big on that. So that's one tip that I would give anybody who's out here looking for an attorney for whatever case. Say, okay, can I get a copy of your malpractice insurance? Let me
Hmm.
know, because you want to make sure that they have it. And there's a
Right.
lot out here who don't have it. And if
Right.
they don't have it, mm, something to think about.
Yeah, they're liability.
And don't say, and they can't say, oh no, I don't need that. I always follow, ma'am, if you needed it, you wouldn't even have it. What
Yeah.
that means, because what malpractice does is if they make a mistake, it means you have a third party to go to that's going to make you whole. So
Mm-hmm.
it's no different than if you're in a car wreck, right?
Yep.
If you're hit by somebody and that person has insurance, you don't even get to deal with them. You
Mm-hmm.
go straight to the insurance company and say, fix my car.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. If this attorney doesn't have it and maybe they make a mess up and you need to go, you don't have to just deal with them. And they not gonna have no money. They probably messed up because they ain't got no money. Something to think about when you're picking a lawyer.
Absolutely. Absolutely, honey. Oh my gosh. How long did you go to school to become a lawyer? Because I know you said you went to Pittsburgh first. Like,
Yep,
how long did you go to
sure.
school?
So you do undergrad. I did 4 years of undergrad, and my advice is major in whatever you think you can get the best grades in for undergrad. For me, it was business and finance. Do not major in poli sci thinking it's going to get you into law school. It's not. If you major in poli sci, you better have straight A's. You'd be better off majoring in dance or computers or anything else you're passionate about. So I did 4 years of undergrad, and then it's 3 years of law school, and then I was done. And for me, I was 20 my senior year of college, right? I had just made 21 like 2 months before I graduated. And I was like, look, I am not mature enough to go off to law school. I knew that. So for me, I took a year off and then a year off and I used that to apply to law school. And then I went to law school. And for me, it was perfect. I did not mind that it was 3 more years because I don't want to get up and work all day. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
In law school, you get to get up, be somewhere for 9:30. My day was over at 12:30, and then I got to study or play. I went to Cornell. It was a top 10 law school in America. So I really only worked hard my first year. And the next two, I was gallivanting around and, I had, little ball players. I was a little cute little thing. I looked like a little video vixen. I let them fly me to here or there. And, I lived that lifestyle while they told their mama they was dating this Ivy League girl who was, in law school or whatever, and I sat courtside. So it was a nice life. So
I love it, honey. I love it.
my point is just like do not be like, oh no, I can't do 3 more years of school. Please, it was the easiest 3 years of school. It was way easier than undergrad because I went to the top school. So if you
Because
go
you
to the
were
right
done by the
school,
time you were 24, right?
yep, yes, ma'am. 24, I had just turned 25. Yes. And my starting salary this was 2008 with the whole recession, was 140 some thousand dollars. I didn't, was 140, $160,000. I did, with my panties on. With my panties on. I said, wait a minute. I didn't even know. You sure? I give you my bra. I was thinking in my head, I didn't say it to him because I don't want to take that money back. I made more than my parents made combined, right? Because it was a recession. So I said, look, if you people are stupid enough to give me a job, I'm going to be smart enough to keep it.
Yeah.
And
Because the
so I did.
recession started what in 2007?
Uh-huh. I started in '07. And I started
2007.
my job in '08, and I kept it all the way through. I was shocked because I really didn't know nothing, but I was a useful chick. I tell you what, I made people's coffee and I started my career actually in the corporate group, but there was no corporate deals, because nobody could get financing. So I chose, and I always wanted to do entertainment law, like I told you, because I started as a child actress. So I made my way into the intellectual property group. That was a group that did fashion law and all that sexy stuff. So I ended up making myself very useful. So I went from a division of my firm that had no work to who had all the work. And I ended up becoming a fashion attorney. So I represented Christian Louboutin and Yves Saint Laurent and Hublot and all of those brands.
Oh.
I did their anti-counterfeiting. So I would take down those little Chinatown stores that would sell knockoffs, and Forever 21, they used to sell knockoff red bottom shoes. And my most famous case was the case of whether you could trademark the red sole. So I represented Christian Louboutin, and we sued YSL, um, claiming that they had infringed us for making a shoe that was red on the bottom and red on the top. So that's how I started my career in New York City.
Wow, that's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely very interesting. The clients and my peers that I worked with were certainly something else, that's for sure. A lot of personalities, but yeah, I did that knock. I took down knockoffs, made sure I could get them off the market, and it was kind of like I was like a little spy investigator. Yeah, it was sexy.
So let me ask you this, because of course the missing link, the channel is geared towards entrepreneurs, pretty much.
Absolutely.
So people in business. So the thing is if anyone that comes to this channel and watches this in replay, say for instance, someone in business wants to get trademark, can you help them with that as well? You got listen,
Sure.
guys. Wow.
Absolutely. Myself and my firm, we have trademark attorneys there. Absolutely, that can help you with that. This is a great time to do so. And also, just like I think that the number one thing, the number first step that you should take is go to uspto.gov. Put in the name of whatever it is that you'd like to trademark and use that to see if it's already taken. Okay. Even if it's not, you need to pay an expert attorney because we have software and special things where we can run a search that's going to search for derivatives or misspellings or different things like that to let you know if you're going to be running dangerously close. The standard that we use is called substantially similar. If you have a trademark that's substantially similar to another one that's already either registered or pending, then that's what you want to avoid so that you can be protected. But absolutely, I can help you. I can get you where you need to be. Mm-hmm.
Isn't trademarks, is it because I heard someone said getting a trademark is so expensive. They said it's like 5,000 or so ish to get a
Not
trademark.
necessarily. I think that so I think it's around 1,000 to just get the trademark, but
Mm,
2,500 for the report and the trademark, assuming that the report comes back and it's like you're good to go. But here's the thing that people forget.
mm,
Look, if you're starting a new business, if you don't go out there and get you a credit card, find you one of them 0% interest, such and such, because this is a line item on your
mm,
taxes, okay? This is tax deductible. And
mm,
you cannot afford to not get your trademark done because what's going to happen is you're going to blow up. Somebody's going to see you on social media. You're going to start selling all your stuff. And then some woman like me is going to come and see you infringing. And I'm going to take down your whole Instagram and your whole Twitter and your whole Facebook in one day. And you're going to be sitting there like, oh, oh. And then they really return my phone calls then. Okay. So
mm.
pay now or pay forever. So
Yeah.
you really want to get it done, budget it. Not only can put that stuff on a credit card. Even attorneys will work with you and do payment plans with you.
Mm,
Especially if you can show like, hey, I have products, I'm making money, give them a down payment for the retainer, and then you say, okay, each month I'm going to give you this amount. But most importantly, just remember, it's a tax deduction. You get that money back every January. So I even do a big rush towards the end of the year, November, December, where I'm like, hey, if there's a new business you want to file, et cetera, this is the time to do it, y'all, because you're going to get that money back in January when you file your taxes.
mm. Wow. And do you
Mhm.
need a lawyer to do a trademark,
No,
or is it
you
in your
don't.
interest?
It's best interest because here's the thing what a lawyer does is we run a search for derivatives of whatever you
Mm,
want. And let's say if you're trying to do a design mark, that's really dangerous because your logo, there's a very special and unique way you have to search the system for a logo mark. Word mark is a little more clear cut, but even then, like I've had clients who, let's say the mark that you want is Sabrina Soul. Let's say there's a Sabrina soul that's already existing and you're like, oh, but I'm going to spell soul differently. No, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't. And those are the things that lawyers will help you with, or will help you. Like a really good one will help you say, okay, look, this is what's taken. Here are some alternative ideas of a trademark you can use that's really close to what you've already been using. So your clients know it's you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Child,
So
I'm
you
learning
got options. You
so much.
always have options. That's what's most
Yeah.
important to remember. With
Right.
a good lawyer, you always have options.
Mm,
It's just a matter of exploring them all. Mhm.
right. Mm. Oh God, Lee. Okay. It's so much, and I feel like I've learned so much, and it is so many questions, but I'm not trying to even keep you on this long. But so,
Um,
what is a day in the life of an attorney like? Like what? So you wake up in the morning, you check your email. Like how is
Absolutely.
a day in the life of for you, how is it like?
Sure. So post COVID, a day in the life now is, and this is also why you'll see me in like different countries or different cities all the time. My day in the life is I'll wake up around 8:30. I'll look at my phone for any urgent text messages. If my assistant hasn't sent me anything urgent, then I know it's under control. Then I go back to sleep. I wake up. I probably watch Forensic Files around 9-ish. I fight crime from about 9 to 9:30, 9:45. And then I check my emails. I have an assistant who's I stole her from one of my old firms. We both worked in my old firm. And I usually have some documents that I need to approve. So I'll go through and I'll approve those and I'll go through that. Then around 11-ish, from 11 to about 1, I'll have case status and strategy calls
Mm.
where I'm going over my clients and my cases to find out who's treating with what doctors, what are these doctors saying are their injuries, what specialists do they need to get to? Okay, have we properly been documenting their lost wages, their this, their that, their the third? And then I get on the phone and I talk shit to the insurance companies. I like to call insurance companies in the afternoon from like 1 to 2 because they have a full belly. It's
Yep,
after
right after
work.
lunch.
Yeah, they've got some coffee in their system. They've got a second win. And then I'm like, listen, and I'll send them some more medical records. I get them to increase what's called the reserves, which means the amount that they're telling their boss this case is going to cost them. And I always feed them stuff all the time. I do that. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, you know what? I need you to send me some numbers. I need to get some numbers by tomorrow, close of business, so I can get you your bonus. No, I always try to act like I'm helping them. So I can get you your bonus. Fuck your bonus. I don't care. Fuck your bonus. Right? And so yeah, so I do that, and then in the afternoon, I usually check on my clients. If I find out like a certain client's been missing their doctor's appointment, I check on them. Hey, how's everything going? You know, life be life in. So it's like, do you need transportation? What is it that you need to help you get the treatment that you need so that we can not only get you better, but also, get you to the experts that are going to let us know exactly all of the things that you've experienced. Because sometimes they'll go to ER and then come out and they're like, oh, ER said this. Let me tell you something. ER, that doctor, if you ain't got no bullet wound, he about to send you home. Okay.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, you got 3 herniated discs, a concussion, and the left side of your brain is to where you don't pick up your socks no more in the house. So your wife's gonna call me 3 times on Thursday. So it's just like a whole array. So a lot of it is it's like we're a family. Like me and my clients are a family, so it's like family management.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's that part, and then a few times a month I'll have Zoom hearings or
Mhm.
in-person hearings. It just varies. So that's a large part of the management that I have. And then I have a great team underneath me, case managers and so forth, who really help execute it all. So I'm just happy that I've grown to the part that I'm the overseer and I create the strategy. And then I have people that I really trust who
Mhm.
execute it. And I
That's what I
have
was about to
clients who
say.
trust the vision.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. So how does your night end? So at like you're like after 7 o'clock, I don't work on anything. I don't do
Right.
anything that has to do with work. I take a bath. I put my phone off. So what do you do like
Absolutely. So around it's actually 5 o'clock now. So because I'm practicing because I want to be a mom, so I have to like create a mom schedule. That's the thing, y'all. So around 5, I start playing around in the kitchen. I'm trying to teach myself how to cook. I gave myself food poisoning a few weeks ago.
oh
So
no, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I survived. Yeah, it was whoo, touch and go.
Goodness.
So yeah, so I really just stick to things I can cook in the microwave. But then when my boyfriend comes home, I throw them into a pot so he doesn't know.
If he's not watching this.
He's not watching right now. I don't think it's a play. I know he's not watching because it's a playoff. Yes. So I do that, and then he taste tests my food, and he tells me how salty it probably is. And then we watch our shows. And if I watch our shows prior to him, he gets on to me. So our shows include like anything power, Power Force, Power Book. We watch all of those. And of course, Ready to Love, Huntsville, Put a Ring on. So we watch our shows. And we like intentionally like watch them during the week because the weekend is a lot. And then I don't like doing the dishes. I don't like doing all that stuff. And then I call my housekeeper, who I love her, but she's like never on time. So I call her to figure out what day of the week she's going to come so I can make sure that my house is super messy that day so I get my money's worth. And and then we just redo it. Yeah, that's what my husband.
Sounds, and it's crazy because me thinking she's an attorney, I'm thinking she wakes up at 4 in the morning. She doesn't go to sleep till 10, 11 o'clock at night. She goes to sleep with her bonnet on, her laptop beside of her, with her glass of wine. She's exhausted from all the cases and the phone calls. And you're like, I'm over here chilling, watching Ready to
I
Love with
used
popcorn.
to. Yeah, I used to. Now, because now I am 15 years out. Yeah, I've been out of school for 15 years.
Yeah.
But if you hit me like 10 years, yeah, like, yeah. Oh, no, there are definitely some nights where my laptop be in the bed for sure. Especially if there's a settlement, if it's any money, if blah, 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 blah. But I'm also the lawyer who, like, I get a call from my client who, our case is related to her, this doctor killing her kid, his malpractice. And she calls me at 3 a.m. and it's like, I don't want to live anymore and blah, blah, blah. And I got to get in my car in my bonnet at 3:02 and I drive to her small country town and I go pick her up and we go to a treatment facility because no, we're not going to do that.
Right.
You're going to keep living. We're going to find a reason to keep living. And so it's a lot of patient management. And then I would do that and I would visit her at a treatment center and I would go and I would take her to get her nails done. And I remember my co-counsel who was a big country white boy when we had our little invoice for settling case. He was like, why are there all these nail appointments? I said, let me tell you something. Have I ever questioned you when you invoice all your golf appointments with your white clients? So don't ask me shit about why we go and get our nails done. That's how we bond. Y'all go play golf. What's your next question?
Wow. Wow. So, wow. So what do you like most about being an attorney?
I think what I like most is the human interaction. I like working with people and I like being able in an instant effectively when that money hits the account to change their life for the better forever.
What do you like least about your job?
I think what I like least is dealing with people who refuse to follow the law, that being judges and opposing counsel. One of the reasons that I like being an attorney is because as a Black person, I felt like throughout my life, the field goal post, keeps getting moved. You accomplish something, they move it. You accomplish something, they move it. But what I liked about the law is the law is the law is the law. So you're not supposed to be able to move it. But every now and then, I will deal with a judge or opposing counsel who moves it. And there's nothing I can do about it. Whether it's because small town and that guy and the judge or that guy's dad and the judge have been golf buddies, country club buddies, perhaps KKK buddies for the number of years. There's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
And even though the law says this is the rule, they get to make their own. So one of the things that I don't like is that I don't have any control about that. But one of the beautiful things about the platform that I've grown to develop is that I now at least can announce it, can speak on it. And if I can get enough people to care about it like I do, we can do something about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to just take it anymore.
What would you tell anyone who is interested in becoming a lawyer or an attorney?
I would say if you want to um, do it because do it if you feel extremely confident, if you are entrepreneurial. Don't do it if you think, oh, this is a way for a stable, steady, easy income stream, because it's not. To be successful at it, particularly as a brown person, you have to be willing to be self-employed. You can't simply work for someone else
Yeah.
and be successful at it, because like very recently, for example, the starting salary for prosecutors was right around $50,000,
Mm,
but their average monthly loan payment was right around 800 bucks a month. Okay.
mm,
So I say, if you're going to do it, approach it with an entrepreneurial spirit.
right.
Be open to owning your own, having your own thing at some point in your career, and do it if and only if you feel that you can do it, and be fearless. If
Mm,
you are going to do it with a portion of you that feels that you need someone else's approval at all times, whether it's to make your parents proud or something like that, then I think you shouldn't get into it,
yeah.
because you won't be able to do the best for your client, and you probably won't ever make yourself happy either.
Mm. So, quick question off of that. So, do you work for yourself or do you work for a firm?
Both. So I'm a
Mm,
managing partner of a law firm that has additional offices and managing partners in other cities.
mm,
So I'm managing partner of the Dallas and Houston office. We have offices in Florida and Georgia and California.
mm,
And so I have a lot of autonomy. So also that's why my schedule can look like how I described.
mm,
If I was not, it absolutely would not. I would have to come in at least to show my face
mm-hmm.
by like 8:30, and I could not leave until like 6:30-ish, 7. That was the standard when I worked for someone else. Hmm.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah,
That's good to know. Good to know.
big difference. Big difference.
So, are you working on any projects right now that you would like to share?
Yeah, actually, one of the two new cases are that I am working on are basically NEC. NEC is it's a big acronym, but it's necro and stuff, blah 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 blah. It's a big word, but basically, it's representing mothers of children who have taken Enfamil or Similac, and then their child has been diagnosed with NEC. So here's the challenge. WIC gives all the mamas, WIC being food stamps, gives all the mamas after you have your baby Similac or Enfamil historically. The problem is um, Similac and Enfamil have known for years that those products cause birth defects and even death. And there have been babies who have died from it or have serious birth defects. So I am representing a lot of those moms who have experienced that. This is not a set of cases where you get a check for $10 in the mail. This is a big deal. So the challenge that I've had over the years when I've been doing FDA recall products and representing victims of those is that I don't know if it's the advertising or what, but even when Black people, like here, we are disproportionately the victim, we don't tend to make claims. And I don't know if it's because we have our own, opinion of the legal system. But I'm here to say, I don't care if you're on probation. I don't care if CPS is looking into you and your family. If your child has been diagnosed with anything, and those families know kind of what that is, which is a birth defective disorder, then you should call me. We need to make claims because we need to let them know that You can't keep giving us crappy products just because we're on food stamps that kill our kids or causes birth defects. And then when we try to raise our kids and our kids are, not functioning in the classroom and this and that, lock them up. Because
Right.
that's what they do. So what this lawsuit is here to do is giving mothers resources. I'm talking a lifetime care plan where for life we anticipate what is going to be the cost to raise your child off of food stamps. And that's what we're getting for you.
Man, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that Similac in because my daughter was on
I know.
Similac when I had
For
her.
a lot of families. Yeah. And so, subsequently, a lot of families then they got this diagnosis, and a lot of families are embarrassed. They don't want to necessarily, talk about it. But it's one of those things where if you have that, the next step is to make a claim. It costs nothing to make a claim, but we make a claim and then we investigate more so what your family has gone through. Basically, we compile and we tell your story, and then we are here to seek compensation so that your child is taken care of for the rest of their life, so that you don't
Right.
have to not work, etc., etc. Because this is ridiculous. And they knew that it was an issue, and they covered it up
Mm.
because if hospitals were to know, hospitals wouldn't keep giving everybody goddamn
Right.
Similac and Infidel.
That's the first thing they give your
The first thing.
when I had Sadora in my arms, the hours later after they cleaned her up, they gave her a little when she couldn't latch on, they gave her one
Yep.
of those little bottles, shook it up
Yep.
of Similac.
My sister just had a baby and I saw one on the counter and I was like, what is this? I wanted to throw it in the trash, but I didn't want to scare her. So I was
Right.
like, why is this and why is it here? I do not know. Because they also lie and say that it's a certain type of milk, or previously they were. I have to check the new packaging. But yeah, they were saying that it was cow's milk and it wasn't necessarily that. And so it was the whole big old thing. So, yes. So, those cases also, if you're in an average car accident, if you're in a car accident anywhere in America, give me a call. I can help you. The number is 1-855-4 Simone, and that's SYMONE. Just say that in your phone, y'all. If you're ever in an accident, you can call or text me. And we have, virtual people that can contact you virtually, send you a contract virtually. I do all of that and just get you started and get you going. Mm-hmm.
Well, my last question was where can people find you? So
Okay.
all right, so let's kind of go through everything, your social media and everything, because I know
Thank you.
some of your handles you gave me are in the description box below. So
Great.
just check the description box, guys, and also the 1-888 number that she just
Yep.
gave you for Simone.
885.
One eight eight
885.
five for Simone.
Yeah.
But let them know again. Is it any other handles you want to give
You can
them?
also,
Follow
yes, you can email me at attorneysimone@gmail.
Okay.
Attorneysimone@gmail. And we respond within 24 hours, guys. Also, just my Instagram. I check my DMs almost daily. Sometimes it's a little slower on the weekend, but yes, you can DM me that as well. So thank you. And feel free to send in any questions that you would like answered when I do my weekly advice section on Girl, Is That Legal?
This was such an amazing interview. I appreciate you so much.
Oh,
I
thank
appreciate
you,
you taking
girl.
time to come here and being with me today on the missing link. And hopefully this will link to some amazing people that are out there that you have inspired to become an attorney. But either way, you've dropped some gems. You've dropped a lot of knowledge. I mean, I'm sitting here like with my mouth open. And I'm just like, I didn't know that, and it's a lot of things that I didn't know. And I learned today. And I just say thank you so much. And thank you, to all the viewers that came in and wanted to watch. We have 104 people in the chat right now. So
Awesome.
yeah, so they definitely wanted to hear what you had to say. And it was some amazing things. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Awesome. Well, you guys take care and have a good one. I really appreciated it.
Have a good one. Thank you so much, guys. And until the next link.
Bye, y'all.